Hey everyone! Welcome to my second video. I wasn't joking. I fucking love turtlenecks. This is more of a cowl neck, but I made it a mission that I'm gonna try wearing a different turtleneck every video. So today we're gonna be talking a little bit about color. What your hair can do with color, what it cannot do with color. So we're gonna go through all the 10 levels of color that we as stylists know that everyone falls into. Keep in mind that these don't include tones, so it's not going to be like a red or a copper or like a platinum blonde or like a really cool brown. It's just like literally black to blonde. That's it. They're totally neutral. So when you guys come in and you're like, I want, say you have like dark hair like me, like a little 4 or 5, which I'll show you what that actually is. And you're like, I want really, really light hair. I want that gray platinum blonde hair. In our heads, we are like, fuck my life. I'm like, really? I'm like, I don't care what stylist it is. We're all thinking the same thing. Then we're like, okay, we need to manage expectations now because like, again, with interest and Pinterest, Instagram and Pinterest, they're setting unrealistic expectations about your hair. I too would sometimes like that gray color, but I know my hair's capabilities are not that. And that's because I know what my hair can and cannot do. So let's go through the different levels of color. These are where you guys come in with 1, basically black, to 10, a very, very light blonde. So like I was saying, if you are say level 4 or 5, and you're like, I want to be platinum silver blonde, you need to go from here to here, which it doesn't look like, oh, that's not that bad. But it's here where we get really stuck, and that's where the hair gets really stubborn. So when you're like, oh, I'm here, I need to go here, it's like, piece of cake, no problem. But even for my hair, being as dark as I am, and even getting in like these lighter bits, I've been going light forever. Like I don't really dye my hair dark because I know once it go darker, it's that much harder for me to go back lighter. So I've always just kind of stuck around highlights that are kind of in this. So with like, and lighting makes a huge difference. I have the outside light shining on me right now. So this looks probably a lot lighter than it is. I'm probably like a level 7 at the lightest on my ends. There is little bits of like 8, but not enough to like make a difference. Anyways, so say you're like, I'm with this, I don't want to go here. We're like, okay, let's put some lightener on your hair after asking you a lot of questions of like what's already on your hair. Are you natural hair? Do you have color on your hair? So when we do ask you guys those questions, we're not asking to like give you a lecture. We're asking because we need to know how to formulate your color. So when we ask, oh, is there box dye on your hair? Any kind of artificial color on your hair? And you guys are like, no, it's all good. And we're like, okay, well, 1, we'll check if you're lying just by looking at the strand, if there is any kind of demarcation line. And a demarcation line is like, even if it's a very subtle shift of like color from this to this, we know, like, and a timeline too, because your hair, average hair grows half an inch a month. Like that's just, we can ballpark it pretty well. So just like, don't lie to us because it's gonna only hurt your formula. We just want to know so we can like decide the strength of the lightening we're gonna need. So that's why we asked that question. We ask also if it's a professional or box dye because they lift very differently. A professional color will lift a lot more even, and whereas a box color can lift really splotchy, and then we can't really guarantee or even predict any kind of result. So back to our example of you are level 4 or 5 and you want to be level 10, which it does not happen in one shot. Okay, so we put lightener on your hair. We put your foils in, we take your foils out, and if you're level 4 or 5, you're in here, which means these are your underlying pigments. So when we take your foils out, this is what we see. Usually if you're a 4 or 5, we put, depending on like also how coarse is your hair resistant, is it fine, is it medium, all those things come into play. So say your hair is like a little bit resistant, doesn't really like to budge. If you're a 4 or 5, you're probably gonna end up when you're done lifting between here and here. So kind of like a rusty orange to like a dark yellow. So then if the integrity of your hair is good and you've booked in for like a color correction, say, because you would probably need a correction to go from here to that. If the integrity is good, we will bleach you again. So then if you're in here, then we're like, okay, we'll bleach you again. Maybe we can get into here. If you're lucky, you're getting here. That'd be ideal. So So this is the levels that we have to work with. So whenever we lift, you guys, and whatever you lift to, that's the level of toner we have to put on. So say we lift here, between a 6 and a 7. So it's kind of like that, it's like that rusty orange kind of color. You're like, I really want it to be like the ashiest I can get, like really, really cool. We have to tone to the darkest color that lifted. So even if majority, so say majority is this and there's bits of this, kind of like what happens in my hair, I have to tone to this. If it's really mixed in, like you have to tone to the dark. Otherwise, this is gonna go real ashy, and they're gonna have this like sick ass brassy color that's like running through your nice blonde, which it's not even gonna look like nice blonde because you got the sick ass color running through it. So that's just like a little overview of like what we have to deal with as a stylist behind the chair. So just knowing what your underlying pigment is like humongous. Just to know like, okay, I ask new clients this all the time. It's like, has anyone ever said your hair lifts difficult, you pull warm, or anything like that? Most people don't say anything. I don't think other people have actually ever mentioned that their hair lifts a certain way. I usually try to tell clients like, oh, your hair is lifting really good. Oh, your hair lifts like mine. Like it doesn't. Like it's gonna take some time. But like we also don't know fully how your hair is gonna lift until we put the bleach on, really, and take the foils out. We know a pretty good idea, but like 100% we don't know till literally we rinse it. And then we can kind of formulate your toner colors. So a lot of people ask too, what is a toner? Toner is, I remember being in hair school, 2 things made me cry: finger waves and toners. I was like, I don't know. I'm not understanding what a toner is. Without actually doing it, it was really hard for me to wrap my head around. So the best way I can describe what a toner does is that it shifts and or tints your hair, which doesn't really make that much sense. So say it can either cancel out warm tones, add warm tones, darken. That's it. It cannot lift your hair. It cannot make it brighter. We can just kind of like shift the tone of your hair, or like, the warmth or the ashiness. That's all it can do. It will never lift like your root color, say, because the toner you're putting on is only to affect the lighter pieces. So if the tone is light leveled, it can't affect anything darker than that level. So say I put a 6 something on your hair and your roots are like a 4, like mine, dark. It's not going to affect it. It's only going to affect at that level or lighter. So toners are like, it's a demi-permanent color. If you leave it on, say on dry hair for the 30-40 minutes, it will act like a full-on deposit color, and it will last a lot longer. When you're putting it on as a toner, your hair is wet, so it's gonna be diluted a little bit, and you're leaving it on between like 5 to 20 minutes. So, and it's meant to not be in your hair forever. It's supposed to wash out. Like you want it to kind of like fade out gradually. That's why having light hair is so versatile, because as you wash your hair, it's just kind of like an ever-changing color. You don't want it to wash out within the first 2 washes. So keep that in mind. If your toner is washing out really quick, a couple things: you might be washing hair too soon after getting it done. So usually you tell people to wait 48 hours before their first wash after you get it colored, or it just didn't stay on long enough, which that's our fault. So yeah, I find when I get my own hair done, toning is I hate it because I'm an impatient person. I don't like sitting there waiting for anything. So just be patient with us. We didn't forget about you at the sink. You're toning. It's a very important step, unless you want to look like some really brassy kind of color going down. I feel like in my entire career, I've only never not toned someone like 5 times. It's like so rare. Even if someone lifts like to like such a pimp ass blonde, like so good, so pale, so awesome, inside I'm just like 5 minutes. Let me just put something on there for 5 minutes. Maybe it's just like a mental thing for me, but I feel like then it's not such a harsh brassy color that's gonna come out. So this is a much shorter video than the last one, which I got kind of carried away. But I hope that gives you guys some kind of guideline as to when you're looking for colors, or like you're gonna ask your stylist for a color, like what your hair is actually capable of doing. Also, another good tip is when you're Pinteresting and you're bringing in pictures, which is fine. I totally don't mind pictures because it really gives me a baseline of what like you see and what I see and what's capable, and like what parts of the hair that you like and what you don't like. So a couple tips are, if you find a picture you like, turn it upside down. A lot of people like the face that they see. They don't actually know or really notice the hair. They're like, I really like that girl's face. So turn it upside down. You can't see her face. Do you actually still like the hair? That works more so for colors. Cuts, I mean, you just have some kind of reference of like where the hair is falling. Search for your hair texture. So when I search for my hair texture, I wrote short, short bob, blunt bob, and then for my color, I would search for balayage fine medium hair. Most colors you're gonna see are for fine medium hair. If you have, this is more so for people who have really coarse hair. Search colors for coarse hair because it's gonna reflect, the light's gonna reflect way different than on someone that has like a softer strand. It's a little bit more shinier. So with people that have coarse hair, when you lift it, it's just like not very shiny. So just keep that in mind. Like the texture of your hair definitely matters. I think that's pretty much it. I think most of us don't mind pictures coming in. I think we do an internal eye roll when someone with black hair comes in and is like, I want that platinum blonde. Like, I would like a pony too, but it ain't happening. So we will try to get you to your goal, man, in the safest, quickest way possible. But sometimes it depends on if the hair is really resistant. It's probably going to be a very slow process. My sister-in-law's sister, which I guess she makes me my sister-in-law, her hair was an anomaly, man. It took forever. Like, her hair is soft. It just didn't lift. It literally took us, I don't even know, a year and a half to get her from, like, what was she lifting? She was, like, lifting like this for fucking ever. It took us a year and a half to get in here. And when we did, we were like, thank God. Like, what? And it was just consistent. She was super consistent. Anytime that you lose, like, desire in the middle, and you're just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go dark. You're like, you're really setting yourself back like a year, you know, because like your hair can only handle so much stress on it to begin with. So a couple of things when you're going light and you want, it's not a low maintenance color as far as like home care. You have to take care of it because if you're heat styling and you're so a heat styler is mechanical damage, and so your lightning, which is chemical damage, you put those two together, it's not good for your hair. So you need to keep really good care of your hair with like heat protection at home, trying to keep like a flat iron off your hair completely. I'd much prefer you guys blow dry at a curling iron because you're not encompassing the hair in heat plates, which for a lot of people in the recent history just didn't get it. And I was like, what? They're like, oh, everyone told me that a blow dryer is worse for your hair than a flat iron. And I'm like, really? Like, how in the fuck does that make any sense? Like, you have a blow dryer blowing air that's like kind of touching your hair versus two plates that are sandwiching your hair that you can cook a chicken with. Like, I feel like it's kind of common sense, but whatever. Anyways, don't do that. So I would say, if you have to style your hair for work right now, ain't nobody doing nothing. I mean, I did style my hair for you guys yesterday. But so you wash your hair and condition your hair with something that is sulfate-free, paraben-free. Kevin Murphy is great. There's a lot of lines out there that are all kind of following those kind of guidelines. And then you have to have your foundation product have some kind of heat protection in there because you need to create a barrier between your strand and the heat. Otherwise, when you come in to get your hair colored again, and we can tell when you've been using a flat iron excessively or like not using heat protection, the second that lightener hits that end, it's gonna just break off and then it's gonna snow when you blow dry your hair and you don't want that. So those are some tips for you guys. And if anyone wants to know specifically which products to use for heat protection, Heated Defense with Kevin Murphy is great. It is just strictly for heat. There is no texture to it. There's no like a finish to it. It's just like straight up heat protection. I believe Untangled has a little bit of heat protection in there as well. Biggest thing is if you can just not use your flat iron, don't use your flat iron. Wind it up, put it away, out of sight, out of mind. If you have to use a flat iron, please turn it down. And then tomorrow I'm gonna wash my hair and I'm gonna show you guys how to blow dry with intention. So you're gonna really limit or almost eliminate the need for a flat iron. Cool? Okay, catch you guys tomorrow.